Okay guys, the first part of the camera I want to go over is the lens. Now the lens is a 12 to 40 millimeter f 3.5 to 5.6. The lens is a micro four thirds for mirrorless cameras, and the viewing angle is about 84.1 degrees to 30.3 degrees. And you can see there, it's got a nice feel to it. It doesn't feel cheap. Does feel like plastic, but the quality overall is pretty nice. The focusing on it does work, even though I've seen other videos where people have indicated that it doesn't focus, but that's incorrect. It does focus. What you have to do is, on the camera, you got to set the camera into manual mode, and then this is not instantaneous focus. This is what they call wire focus. So basically, as you turn left to right, that'll sharpen the image depending on what object you're aiming it at. So I've seen many YouTube videos, and everyone says that it doesn't even have a focus. Well, they're wrong. It actually does. And what's funny is some of these people doing these videos look like, you know, high-end photographers, but yet they lacked to know that this does have a focus. So let that be understood. The shooting distance on this is 35 meters all the way to infinity, and the focus mode is automatic focus and also manual focus. And again, keep in mind, it's wire focus. So basically what that means is, on most high-end cameras, the second you move this, it's instantaneous as far as focus. This one, you got to play with it a little bit and look at the monitor, and you'll see that it actually focuses. We'll go over some of the settings in a second. I just want to go over the filter. I'm sorry, the lens. What I wanted to talk about next was the filter diameter, and that's 49 millimeters. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and connect this. And that red dot will pretty much line up with this one, and you twist and it's locked. The camera's good quality. I still have the protective shield on it, or screen protector I should say. It's good quality. I like it. It feels pretty sturdy, and I don't consider this being a cheap item. It seems to me to be very well made. I love the contour here that allows me to grab with my fingers. I mean, I've walked around with it, you know, for the past couple of days. I just got this about 4 days ago, and it's got a real good grip. It does come with the strap, as you saw in the photos. However, one of the downsides with that strap is it has a little dangling wiring assembly that holds onto this, and then the strap goes around that, but it dangles, and it taps the camera, so it kind of makes noise. So I took mine off. I'll probably just put a wrist strap on there and then just use that as a protection in case it does slip out of my hands. At least my wrist will capture it. So anyway, in order to get this to actually start extending, I had already when you normally power on the camera here, let me show you. Let's start from scratch. Let me go ahead and oops, it's awkward looking at this from where I'm looking at it, because it's, there you go. So when you lock the lens, once you take it out of the lock position and you start off at your 12 meter range, you won't be able to put this back into this position unless you tap this down to release the lock, so that way it can go back in. And also too, let me point out here, you do have a hot shoe for your lens, your LED lens, or your flash I should say. Here's some of the functions, and just right off the bat before we power it on, let me just go over some of this. This is obviously your on and off button. This is going to be your camera button and your record button. This is this plays a couple of functions within the program. We'll get to this one in a second, but this is actually going to be your function key here, so to speak, along with these two. These two are pretty simple. This one's obviously to play your video that you've taken, or to see what photos you've taken. It's just an overview. You click that, and then once you start playing with this, it'll actually bring the photo that you've taken into focus, being closer or further out. Once it goes to the furthest, you can actually start clicking on the photos you've taken. And if you do this button here, this offers you to delete the photo if you choose to. But we'll get to that in a minute. I want to go over these settings here. Now, the first one for P is program mode. And basically, that's the ability for you to adjust the shutter and the aperture. The camera takes care of everything else. This function here is going to be automatic, meaning the camera takes care of everything. You have no ability to change the aperture or the shutter speed or the ISO. Basically, it handles everything on its own. I use the program mode for my preference, but for those of you that are not familiar with the camera, or it's your first camera that you've purchased, you might want to start off with automatic till you start learning how to use all these other functions. On top of that, you have this function here, which is called super professional option. That's kind of if you wanted to, the camera's going to come with some templates, and those templates indicate where your individual should be standing in order to get a good photo. So that's what that is. I've never used it. Above that, you're going to have what they call the scene. This is your scene option, and what that does is you can choose a scene, like for instance, sunrise, sunset, daylight. I'll show you here in a minute. I just want to go over the buttons with you really quick. This is your panoramic view. I'm sorry, your panoramic shot. Above that, manual, that means you basically control everything at that point. Like I said earlier, under automatic, the aperture, the shutter speed, and the ISO is controlled by the camera. When you set this to manual, you're basically in control of all that. I'm not that good yet. I never mess with that. I mean, I've played with it a few times, but I'm learning. That's another thing I want to mention real quick, guys. The reason why I got this camera and some other ones that I've purchased is because I'm kind of leaning more towards the cameras now. I'm not really relying on phones too much anymore. They are good. Some have good quality, but you just can't beat a camera. I mean, the camera's always going to dominate, in my opinion. I mean, no matter how good these cameras look on the outside, so to speak, when you take a photo, it's just you can't really play with it. You can't really adjust it. Unless of course you load it into a program, but with the camera you can do all that and as well do it through a program. But anyway, let me continue on here. So if you go to the S mode, that's going to be your shutter mode. That's good for if you want to control moving objects, moving pictures like a bird flying, someone running. You can adjust that. You control the shutter. That's your priority adjustment. If you go to S, that's your shutter. If you turn above that and go to A, that's your aperture. Same thing, other than you not controlling the shutter speed, you control the aperture, and that's kind of controls the depth of the view. Like for instance, if you have someone in focus and you want the background to be kind of blurred, that's what that controls. And then back to program. So with that being said, let's go ahead and power it on. Oh, and by the way, you do have your camera mount here. I guess I should do this as well. You do have the battery on the inside, and this is I'm trying to read this for you guys. This is a 900 milliamp battery. See if y'all can see that. It only came with one, which is kind of a downfall, but I'll be looking to get some more here in the near future. So let's go ahead and power it on. And you'll get this, that's what I was telling you earlier, is that you'll get this if you don't unlock it. So once you unlock it, there you go, it instantly turns on. So here, let me see how we're going to do this. There we go. So this would be kind of, let's assume you're going to go with automatic, right? That's what mostly everyone does that's new to cameras, including myself. I'm getting a little better as time goes by, but let's say you wanted to use that. That little icon that you saw there earlier is no longer there. Let's go back to program. Now it is. Like I said, when you go to automatic, you're not going to be able to do anything with this. I mean, you can go to the slide to the right, and there's a few things that you'll be able to adjust, like the white balance, the touch shooting, meaning you can just touch the screen and it'll shoot. Face detection, you can turn it off or on. Focus mode, etc. But you notice that the ISO is you can't function, you can't do anything with that. I'm trying to make my camera focus on this, what we're doing here. Metering mode, you don't have control of that. HDR, you don't have control of that. So there's, see, it actually limits you. Like there's more to, oh, there we go. There's more to, the video stabilization, just certain things you can't really adjust here, like time lapse and BKT and some of these other functions. But let's go up to program mode, because that will allow us to actually do a lot more. And I want to go over some of this with you. So let's scroll to the top if we're not already there. Yes, we are. And let's see, and start off with the ISO. If you click to the ISO button, right now it's set to auto. You can do you can change it to 100 extend, 200 recommended, 400, all the way to 25,600. I'm still getting familiar with cameras. I'm not sure if using that adjustment would do, but I'm learning as I go. That's one of the reasons why I got this camera. Like I said, I want to start getting into photography and video. That's under auto. If you go to white balance, you can adjust it for sunny, shadow, cloudy, incandescent, and KCWB. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to research that myself. And then believe me, the touchscreen's responsive. It's just I have this on, and since I have been using it, I have kind of gotten some grime and whatnot on there, but I'm keeping it on there until I actually can get something to cover this a lot better, like an actual real screen protector. In your metering mode, you can do multi-metering, spot metering, center weight metering. Below that, you have your focus mode, which is single focus, continual autofocus, manual focus, and peak focus, and it looks like that's it. Touch shooting, like I said, you can either turn it on or off. Basically, you touch the screen, it'll act as if though you're hitting the shutter button. Face detection, I have mine set to off. You can basically turn it on. HDR, you can again activate it or deactivate it. Drive mode, I don't see me ever using that, but it would be continuous, 2-second delay, 10-second delay, and you can tell it to take a photo, or you can tell it that you want to do 2 photos, 3 photos. Let's go backwards and see how many it goes up to. It looks like it's only 3. Yeah, up to 3 photos. Let's go back. And then your connection setup, which is your Wi-Fi. I've used this. It works pretty good. However, it works more for Android than it does iOS. Under iOS, it works, but you have no video display. Whereas with Android, you do have video display. Just keep that in mind. And it only works for photos. It doesn't work for video. So like if you click the record button for video and you wanted to see what's going on your phone as like an external screen, you're not going to be able to see anything. It's only for photos. Hopefully a future update will come up and they'll take care of that for us. So let's go back and then continue on. You have your time-lapse settings. The way this works basically, guys, is you'll turn it on. You'll either choose photo or video. Once you click that, you'll go ahead and exit out of here, and you're going to go ahead and hold the record, right? And look at the screen. You got to hold it down. I'm going to hold it down. There you go. See how it changed up here now? So now when you go ahead and hit record, you will not hit record again. You'll hit the photo button. Once you click that, it'll start doing what it needs to do under time lapse. So I clicked it, and there it goes. It's going to start doing this every depending on what, every 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, depending how you set it. But I wanted to let you know that because I had a hard time figuring out how to activate that. It didn't say anything in the manuals how to do that, so I figured it out myself. And then to stop it, you just click the shutter button again, and there you go, it stops. And once you stop it, it will not keep that setting. So if we go back to time lapse, it's back off again. See that? Earlier it was, we turned it on, it goes off. And I do have mine set to video only. So let's continue. You have your adjustments for 4K, 2K, FHD at 1920 by full high, I'm sorry, keep moving this. Full HD at 1920 by 1080 at 60p, Full HD at 1920 by 1080 30p, and then you've got 24p, 60p, 30p, 24p, and 640 by 480 at 240p. I like to keep mine, I don't know why it's on, oh, I know why. I did the 4K to show you guys the video quality, but I'm going to keep it under 2K. Oh, that's another thing I want to mention. If you record video in 4K, you're only going to get about 3 minutes and then it's going to stop. You're going to have to trigger the record button again. Under 2K, it's infinite. You can just keep recording all day long. So just so you know that, if you're going to do the 4K, you're only going to have about 3 minutes and it's going to stop. You have to hit the record button again. I wish it was longer, but it's not. However, on 2K, you're able to record continuously. So let's see. Basic setup, you're just going to do your date, your time, your language, your shutter, the sounds, whether you want the shutter sound on or off, the operational sound, how long you want it to stay up, so you know, the sleep mode, the auto power, let's see, the color space, I don't really mess with that. The LCD brightness, I put mine down to -2 and I've had good battery time on this. I want to say it's lasted me pretty much the whole day, and that's continuously doing video and photos and back and forth. So yeah, it's not a big battery, but as long as you like, for instance, I shut my Wi-Fi off since I'm not using it, and I shut my brightness down to -2 and it works perfect. So let's go, what's anything else? And then your line of view histogram, you can turn that on, off or on. And then of course you can restore default settings if you want to get back to the original from when you got it from the factory. Okay, so let's go back. You got your BKT. I read about this. It has to do with like photos that you can take depending, let's see if I can do this here. So what this will do, if you see the 3F, it'll take three shots with different lighting. And the same goes for the white balance, and I forgot what the AE was. But those two are just, I think when you become more better with photo, you know, taking photos, it doesn't affect video, it affects photos. But once you become more familiar with, I'm not that familiar with, like I said, taking photos. I do more video than I do photos, but I am starting to like the process now, and I'm starting to get into it. I did read up on this. My memory doesn't serve me correct right now, but I do know that these are adjustments for when you take a snapshot. It does, I believe, anywhere between 3, 5, 6 shots, but it does them in different types of lighting, and you can choose whichever ones you want, or I think you can combine them, something to that effect. Like I said, I'm learning just like you guys probably would if you started out with photos. You know, photography in general. So under the file format, I have mine set to superfine. It just means that the image is going to require a lot more data. So normal would probably be recommended if you don't have a whole lot of space on your SD card. Fine, superfine, and then raw. Raw's for like professionals that love to fiddle around with their photos. With the color, the contrast, and they can just do a number of things. I haven't really gotten into that yet, but that's kind of interesting. I might start trying to learn how to do that. And then all this other stuff, is the same as it was up here for your normal fine and superfine under JPEG, but here it's under RAW and JPEG. I think with the latest update version firmware for 3.1, I believe it is, you now have the option to take both a JPEG and RAW file image, and you can play with either one. Let me go back here. Here you have your image aspect, which is 4332 16:9:11, and it looks like that's it. And that's just the size of the image. So let's see here, like if you notice I changed it to 1.1 ratio. You see how my screen shrunk down? So if I go back, I always try to shoot mine in 16:9, and now you'll see that it expanded. There, you see now it took the full screen. Let's see here. Resolution, you can do up to 50 millimeters, 20 millimeters, 16 millimeters, and 8 millimeters. Is there anything below that? Yeah, 3 millimeters and VGA. Flash mode, you have a hot shoe on top, like I said. However, I don't have one on me. I have something else that I use. As a matter of fact, I can show you that here in a second. Yeah, I use this guy. And what this does is basically, let's say I'm shooting at night, and I have done this. I've used it at night, and believe me, this thing really works. For poor lighting, basically I take this, mount it on top, lock it. There you go. Got an instant flash. However, as opposed to taking a shot and the flash automatically turning on, I have to manually turn this on. And there you go. Like I said, I do more videos than I do photos, so this serves me very well. If I'm doing photos, obviously I'll have to do them in the day until I get an actual flash for this hot shoe, so that it triggers it and it you know, takes effect instantly as I take a photo, not me having to manually put it on, or power it on, I should say. So let's go back. The card setup is basically if you want to delete a specific image or format the SD. And then last, you have your AF illuminator. I don't know what that is. I'll have to research it. Like I said, I can't stress that enough. I'm not a professional photographer. I am liking the process though, so I'm starting to get more involved. Auto playback. Oh, nice. I guess this is for photos, and I'm assuming maybe videos, but let's say you take a snapshot, and here, let's see if we can do it now. We'll do 1 second, and let's see if I'm right. So I think what happens is, let's say we wanted to take a picture of the table. Okay, I guess it's a delay. I guess it's a delay in the photo. Let me try that again. Yeah, it's a delay. So you see how it took 2 seconds there before it took the photo? I bet you if we go back and change that to 2 seconds, I bet you now it's going to take about 2 seconds before that photo shoots. Yeah, that's what that is. Okay. I thought it was letting you take a photo and then you have up to 2 seconds to see the photo, and then it would just go to the ready state again for another photo, but I was wrong. So I learned something new. I'm going to go ahead and shut that off. Display grid, you can do the trichotomy, cross line, diagonal line, heaven and earth wire. Those probably mean more to a photographer than myself, but like I said, I'm still learning. And then video stabilization, I keep mine on. And then lastly, the firmware, which I have updated mine, and I was correct, it's 3.1. So the previous version, I think there was a lot of problems with the focus and couple of other issues they were having, but this firmware actually fixed it because I haven't experienced any problems whatsoever. I really feel this camera is so underrated, and for a beginning individual like me that's trying to get into photography, um, trying to understand the lingo and trying to understand more of what all these functions do, I think this is the perfect camera. Something other than just a smartphone that does better quality photos and video. That's, again, like I said, that's why I purchased this camera. So okay, we did all the menu options. So now let's go back, and hopefully this won't take too long. Whenever you go to each individual option, like for instance under program mode, if you click this, it's going to give you some shortcuts. And in order to adjust these specific functions, this is going to be your option key. So for instance, let's say I wanted to get out of continual autofocus. I would turn the knob and I can do manual focus, single automatic focus, and back to constant automatic focus. If I wanted to change the ISO, it's ISO auto, ISO 100, 200, etc. And that goes for each setting. And these settings you can find on the main menu page where we were, but this is kind of like a brief shortcut. It won't give you all the settings, but it'll just give you, I believe, what they consider the more important ones. So yeah, that's basically just a shortcut to some short menus, and each option up here will offer you different options. For instance, and if we go to like aperture mode and you click that, it changes certain things. You have other options now as opposed to what you had on program mode. So let's go to, we'll go ahead and go to shutter mode. It's going to give you some more options, and you'll notice that you're under shutter mode because it comes up here on the top right. Let's go ahead and go to manual. Same thing. And also, let's go back to program mode. If you're under any of these programs, and if you slide from the right to the left, in this case, under program mode, it's going to give you some options for your photos. In other words, you'll have like standard, portrait, vivid, natural, black and white, and high contrast black and white. So if we go back, and let's say we choose automatic, you no longer, oh okay, it still gives you that option too. And we're going to keep going because I'm going to show you what I'm referencing here. If you go to super professional template, now you see that individual there, that layout, that drawing. If you click over to there, now it gives you different options. See? There's that girl standing. And if you try to choose one of these others, it's going to tell you the lens is not supported. Please use the 42mm 0.5 with a f1.8 lens. And then if you hit confirm, it's not going to let you because it realizes you don't have that lens. So you can download more of these. It's just supposed to kind of help you if you're not a professional photographer like myself. If you're getting ready to take a screen shot of an individual, this kind of tells you the position in which they should be and kind of help you take better photography, I guess, if you will. But see how it changed from right to left? It gives you different options. So let's go ahead and go to automatic. Oh yeah, we started from there, so let's go back. I'm sorry guys. Let's see what, okay, so here now we went to Scenic Mode, and now it gives you a whole bunch of other options. It gives you portrait, landscape, sport, night and portrait, candle, sunset, fireworks, beach, snow. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Portrait. I want to see if there's more than that. Nope, it looks like that's all there is. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You got 9 different settings that you can choose from. And again, if we go out of there, let's go to our, I forgot what option. Oh yeah, we just did superficial. Your panoramic, same thing. If you press the shutter button, move along the directional arrow. So basically if I would click it, and basically I just have to keep moving, move slowly along the directional arrow. Yeah, so that's panoramic. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, I wanted to see if, yeah, there's no options for that function. If you go to manual, it just, again, the standard portrait, vivid, natural black and white. If we go to shutter mode, looks like the same thing. Yeah, so that's pretty much it as far as your options and the different settings. It's a pretty basic, simple camera, but yet it seems to do a lot. It's not very heavy, very, very light. I like the fact that it's small and compact. I've got some other lenses coming in. I'm going to do some more videos on the, I got two other lenses that I ordered that are going to be coming in. I want to do some videos on those, and the reason for that is because if you notice in the videos that we're going to go over next and the photos I took with this camera, when it comes to videos, this, even though it has image stabilization, it's really not good at all. So I've got a fix for that, and it's a simple fix. I think you guys are going to like it, but I'm going to save that for another video. That's going to help eliminate the problem with it not being able to stabilize during video. When I'm done with it and the mod that I'm going to do, this thing's going to take real buttery smooth video with no interference as far as movement or anything like that. So yeah, I hope that wasn't too boring, guys. I just kind of wanted to give you a quick rundown on this camera because, like I said, I'm new to this. I'm still learning, but I kind of wanted to get a better camera than what I have. And I looked at some of the prices for DSLRs, and man, that's a lot of money. So this one here for 250 or 60 bucks, I think I paid for it on Amazon. It's 4K. It's close to professional as you can get. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it, and I just wanted to share my thoughts on it with you guys. Like I said, I feel a bunch of YouTube people are just knocking it, you know, in a bad way, and I don't really see that being a problem here. Like, for instance, like I said, they said that this lens didn't come with the manual focus, and that's incorrect. It does. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can prove that to you guys right now. So you want to go to, in my case, I'm going to go to Program, right? Just in case anyone's doubting me. So we're on Program. Here's where I said you got to go to your setting. I guess you can go from here. Well, we'll do it here. Still trying to learn this. Let me find it. All right, I know how to get to it. Let's go here. We're going to change that to manual focus. Okay. Let's put something there like that. Now, I don't know how well you guys can see that, but that's not in focus at all, right? But look what happens when I start moving the manual focus. That's too much. And we're getting there. You know what? I know how you guys can tell. Let's change one more setting here. Let's go to, there you go, manual focus. Now look, guys, again, I'm turning this, right? Oops. See that? See how that line came in the center of the table? Look, now I'm going to turn it. Gone. I'm going to turn it. There it is. I'm going to turn it. Gone. It would not be able to do that if this was a non-functioning manual adjustment ring for the lens. Again, I'm going to turn it. Oops, wrong side. I'm going to turn it. There it is. It's in focus. Out of focus. In focus. I wish my damn iPhone would be giving you guys a better image. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a snapshot at this point. Alright, now let's see how it looks. Let's zoom in. Look at that. See? Tell me that doesn't have a manual focus. And you know, these reviews were coming from people that looked professional and they had these high-end cameras, and they were saying that they were disappointed and returned it because it didn't have a manual focus. I mean, if you know about cameras and you're a professional, you'd have figured that out. I did, just fiddling around with it. So that's what I'm saying. It seems like people are just knocking this camera for no reason. It's a damn good camera. I'm happy I got it, and I've got a lot of videos coming up with this camera that you guys are going to enjoy. So okay, enough of me going on about this. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some photos, some video, all done with this camera, and that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and sorry if it took so long, but I kind of wanted to be thorough in case you guys are interested in this camera. I didn't want to leave anything out. There's a lot of other videos out there, but like I said, you might be disappointed with what you hear because, as I demonstrated, some people apparently just don't like this camera for whatever reason. I guess they're happy with their $2,000, $1,000 cameras that they're just knocking this right off the bat without giving it a chance or an opportunity. But for someone like me that's just now getting into photos and video, and I'm using a better camera as opposed to just a cell phone, I think I'm going to enjoy it. So, okay guys, Cat72, peace out. Enjoy the videos and the photos. As for sound quality, guys, this is what you're getting straight out of the camera with the mic. You might hear the squeaky boards underneath this bridge as I'm walking across them. But overall, very good quality in my opinion. Very underrated camera. For the beginner, I think this is perfect. And that's exactly what I got it for. I'm going to start getting a little bit more into photography. Kind of done with the cell phone type filming and video. I'll still use it from time to time, but I honestly believe cameras just do a better job. Stabilization's a little rocky, but I've got a fix for that coming up on another video. Very simple fix, very easy. And really, to sum it up, all you really need is a gimbal specifically made for mirror cameras or DSLRs. But okay guys, just wanted to show you some video. This is Cast 72. Peace out.